Welcome to Full Tilt Throwback. I'm Big Kris. Joining us this week, we have Milton, Geek Squad, or as I know him, Craig. So Craig's going to talk about like a little bit about his start in wrestling, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
So, anyways, like how you doing? First of all,
Doing all right. Yeah, yourself?
how you endured COVID?
It's all right. No one likes being stuck inside and being by themselves and that. But it's back end of it's done now. So
You glad that we're back out now?
oh, aye, yeah, 100%.
Back wrestling soon.
Yeah.
So first off, I guess the first question is: do you like wrestling?
I like wrestling. Yeah, I mean, now that I've got to the age I am and the point of in my life and obviously doing it myself, I can say without a doubt that I much more enjoy doing wrestling than I do watching wrestling. Don't enjoy watching wrestling as much as I once did, but because I can just do it myself, you know.
Yeah. So when was like the first time you watch wrestling that you can remember?
Well, the age I would have been when I was watching it was when so I remember when I was a kid and I watched it because I've been showing it. My mum and dad showed it from like a young age. So as far as I can remember back, obviously John Cena was massive at the time. That was when John Cena was just on. He was just built different. He was champion all the time. Then when I was a kid and like I remember it was like so JBL was like a big heel at the time and. It was like when Great Khali was just coming in as well to WWE. I don't know why that's what I remember it for, but that's what I remember when I started watching. Yeah.
So were you like a regular viewer, watch every week and stuff like that, or were you just
I can't
like
really
fair
remember, to be fair. I think it probably would have been a bit more sporadic, yeah. But that's when I first liked wrestling. I obviously had like Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam and stuff. That was the kind of people I liked.
So like when you were at school, did you get Meg for like wrestling?
A little bit, aye.
Everyone does.
Everyone did, you know.
So I mean, we'll jump a little bit ahead now of like before you actually came to training, right? What sort of like went off in your head to go like, I want to try wrestling?
It was weird because like it's one of them things that I always wanted to do, and when you tell yourself like, oh, I really want to do this, and you just never like it was just something I never got around to actually taking the leap and like starting. So like it was for me, it was like. So if you have to make you do something like that, you have a bit of a like defining moment, I guess, like a turning point. It was when I dropped out my sixth form when I left A levels for like the first time I done it. I was like, oh, what am I gonna do now? And I was like, well, I've been saying I always want to wrestle, so I'll just go and do that, and that's what I did. That's what I did.
So I mean, like my first time of meeting you, right? You called me like dead happy and I buzzing to be there. And then you were like, Chris, can I do 450? And I was just like, I don't know, can you? And you were just like, well, I've done it on the trampoline.
Yeah, I had
and then you just done it like first time.
Jeez.
That's like my first like memory of you. So
it's a good memory.
Yeah. So what was like your first memory of like training? Did you, after you finished, were you like, this is what I want to do? Or?
Yeah. I remember the first session and I was happy with it. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to keep at this because I remember like first match that I had was in like the first session I trained. I had training match with you and like literally, obviously it was like literally the simplest match ever because it was like my first time. So like I barely did anything, and I remember like you just learn the basic stuff and I think there was one where it was like some kind of headlock or something, and then I put my leg over your head and done a backflip. Yeah, that's the one I done. So I was like, oh, well, this is sick, because I always like doing like I say, I used to do trampolining before wrestling, so I always liked flippy stuff and like it's just good fun,
Yeah.
Just for the first time, and then kept on at it.
So like I've asked everyone this like what would you say like the pain was like your first session? Was it like when you took like your first like proper bump where you're like, no, I don't like this.
It's well, I think I can remember like being winded from it and like it hurting, but like the actual memory of like the pain itself is kind of gone from my head because that's kind of what your body does, doesn't it? Like
yeah,
when
you forget about it.
yeah, you forget about it because it's something you want to keep doing, and that's just how it works, you know. So I think the memory of the pain's just gone in it.
So what about your first bump back after lockdown? What did that feel like?
I can remember that. Yeah, they were rough bumps. But aye.
So we'll just jump a little bit ahead now. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about training with Sam.
Yeah.
So obviously, like before you first got together, like as a tag team, like both of you were like sort of, I would say like the same sort of level of like wrestler. So like, what were your thoughts about like being a tag team? Were you like looking forward to it, or were you like wanting to be singles or?
Yeah, no, I was like, I was really happy with it because, like you say, we're about the same level. I think he came in a bit later than me, but like he learns fast in it. So he was, we were about the same level and we're like good mates as well. You know, I had good fun with him in training, so I was completely happy with it. I think for me, starting off, it was always better to be in a tag team because like I wouldn't say I get like nervous to the point of being a nervous wreck, but I do get nervous on shows and stuff. So the fact that I had like another person there to like basically who was going through the exact same thing, because when I was nervous for my first show, it was his first show as well. He was nervous, so yeah, I had him there, so it was all good. And I think it was definitely better to start in a tag team, and obviously with him as well, it was great fun.
So I mean, like the response that he's got as a tag team, did you think it was going to be like that much? Like, because obviously, like was said to you like you're going to be like a face tag team.
Yeah.
But then the reaction that you got was, I would say, was like massive. So like, was it like a weird experience or?
It was quite weird, yeah, because when you picture it in your head, that's exactly what you want. You know, anyone wants like the crowd to be popping off, like for you coming out and stuff. But I didn't. It's not like I thought it was achievable or anything, but it turns out it was because like, you know, people just ate it up.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, you've had quite a few matches, because obviously, one of the things straight away was like we're gonna get these like tag matches, like so you've had like matches against Ashen and stuff like that, matches against me and Curtis and stuff like that. So I mean, like, do you have like a favorite tag match?
That's a tough one. Like I would say I have a few favorites for different reasons. You know, like the match you just mentioned, you and Curtis, and the Ashens in the TLC, the three teams. You know, that was a great match. And like I'll always remember the win at the Tag Classic as well, because obviously that was like 3 matches in one night and doing the whole journey from the start of the tournament to the finish to win the title. But like I don't know if I would say it was my favorite match, because obviously when it's your third match of the night, you're like, obviously like you've already came out and wrestled, you're probably a bit tired, you're probably not 100%. So like I'm quite critical, so I'll always go back and think, oh, like if the final match of the tournament was the first match of the night, would it have like been like even better than I already think it was. So I don't know what I could say as a singular favorite. I'm not really sure about that one.
Yeah. So I mean, like, so some of the matches that you've had, all right. So there's been like canny high bumps and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you like doing that stuff?
Yeah.
Like coming off tops of ladders and stuff like that, and
going
going through the tables.
Well, the way I see it is, and I think lots of other people who've done that sort of thing will also speak for this, is like when you're in a show, nothing really, obviously it hurts, but nothing really feels that bad because you've got the adrenaline of the crowd and stuff.
Until the next day.
Until the next day, exactly. So you're gonna keep going, like no matter what, and like the pain doesn't really get to you. Like, and I do like doing things that people will look at and think, oh, that's different. I've seen that. I bet that really hurt. And like, yeah, so like, I mean, no doubt people, like, I know Boog, Adam Christ, he's took it further than me, because I've heard stories of his wild bumps he used to take back in the day. So he's definitely done worse than me. But like, even just little stuff, like I remember me and Sam I think it was in the tournament actually, might be in the first round of the Tag Classic. We had the Lion Kings.
Yeah.
And Seb Strife gorilla press slammed us and from the ring onto the stage. And obviously, you know, the stage isn't like the ring. It's just wood. It's just there. And like, it just didn't hurt at all. And I was like, okay, so I'm the only person tonight, and probably that some people in the crowd have ever seen get pressed onto the stage, and it didn't feel bad. So I'll take that, something different. You know?
So I mean, like, when we're talking about the matches and that, like, not all of the matches have been like you've come out at the other end unscathed. So you've had a few injuries.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's talk a little bit about the injuries that you had. So you broke your wrist.
Yeah, that was in training. I can't remember if I broke it off. I think it was a fracture, but I kind of lose track.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. I know definitely there was one against Tim. Tim and
Amin, yeah. That was the ankle. That was the broken ankle, yeah. So there was I think I've got 4. Well, obviously you would say the wrist fracture that was in training, but there's 3 on shows that I can think of, and the first one's a pretty minor one. That was in I want to say 8-man ladder for the Alpha Prime title. It was a singles match, and Ryan Ace had the ladder on his head, and he was spinning around. This one's not so much of an injury because I was like fine the next day. It's just like I just remember it. I was like, it was just like a notable thing that I took that kind of hurt, which was him spinning with the ladder on his head. And instead of just, you know, taking the ladder like a normal person, you know, I made it a bit interesting. I was like, I'll duck the first one and I'll take the second one. So he's spinning the ladder on his head. I duck the ladder. It comes back round, bang. It just catches the side of my nose. And it looked really real. Like, you know, everyone was like, oh my. I've watched the video back so many times and the whole crowd was like, oh my God. But yeah, that was like, I think I went and got checked out for a concussion because of that, because I was feeling a bit dodgy after it. I was feeling a bit ropey after, because a hit to the nose can actually like make a concussion. But I think I was fine. That one wasn't bad. And then after that, it was, or was this before? I can't remember if this one happened before or after. All right, but I had the a hyper extended or whatever you call it of my knee against TK Cooper.
I do remember that.
And I couldn't finish the match.
And you were having a really good match as well before that. Well, I thought it was good. I was watching.
I can't remember what happened, to be honest, because the notable part for me is the injury. So,
well,
it was like right at the start. That's the thing as well. So it could have been really good.
No, I'm sure there was about 4 or 5 minutes that you were wrestling. So
maybe the injuries were 6 out of me because like it was literally on the simplest thing as well. It was like I think I went for a dive and clothesline, and I remember we'd said before like, oh, he's because obviously he's way bigger than, you know, he's huge. He wasn't going to go down from it, and I forgot that he said he wasn't going to. So I just followed through with it as if we were both going down. You know, dived at him, stuck my arm out, and obviously he didn't go down, so my leg just planted to the floor. Knee just went out to the side, and that was that. I think that one was like 4 to 6 weeks on the shelf, and then there was obviously, like you say, against Tim and Amin, the ankle, and that's the worst one by far. That was awful for me because it was like I was like 2 months or something out for, and during that time, I think, obviously, I was on crutches, so I couldn't, you know, wrestle. I couldn't even just play football, have a kick about with my mates. Like, I couldn't do much, and that one quite affected us quite badly. I didn't at all. That's the worst injury I thought. I didn't like that one at all.
Well, I mean, it's whenever you get injured and that, like, this is my, like, philosophy is, like, like, take the time to heal, but try and still stay around, like, the training and stuff like that, because it's not just like, obviously you're missing like training, you're also missing like the social side.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, and that's for every sport that I've played, mate. Because obviously, if you just stay away from it, you know, and you're just in your own head, right? So we'll move on a little bit now, and we'll go on about you and Sam splitting. So obviously, you were the tag team champs. Probably like the most over tag team that we've had. But then it was just like time to split the team. So like I can remember the angle, but like what did you like about it? Because I thought it was like really good. And it made loads of sense, which is like I would say one of the main things that, like, if you're going to do like an angle like that, there needs to be like a little bit of realism in it.
Yeah.
So what did you think about it?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Like the timing, it was good time because I'd just sort of been like injured again. So and I think that added, like you say, the realism was the fact that while he was beating us up, I had a cast on. So like it, like people was like, you don't get a cast for nothing. So people knew that I was like really hurt, and that Sam was really angry at the fact that I'd got hurt again and had to give up the titles with him.
Yeah.
So that's like you say, it added to the realism and just made it so much like more important for him to do what he did.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what do you think about like a singles match between you two? Like, I mean, like, is it going to be like epic or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it has to happen and it has to be epic because, like, even more so when you look at like the timing of everything. Like we had this hot storyline that everyone was really invested in, and like when he hit us in the back with the crutch, like when he first turned, like obviously I had family members in the audience and stuff, and like they didn't know it was coming, and they were again, so they were shocked, and they were also telling us how everyone else was shocked, how they seen jaws drop around the room.
Yeah.
And like that's the kind of thing we try to create in it as wrestlers, that's that reaction is what we want. So everyone's jaws dropped. It's a hot storyline, and then the pandemic hits.
Yeah.
So we haven't had the chance yet to forward it, to have a possible singles match between the two of us. So logically, that was the next step, and obviously it's been delayed a bit, but I would hope that it'll still happen. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I want it to happen. I think it'll be a really good match. So I mean, how do you feel about being like a singles wrestler now? Like, do you still see like being a tag team, or do you want to see what it's like being like singles?
It's a bit nerve wracking, not gonna lie, because obviously having him there all the time and getting used to like what I'm doing, how I'm performing and stuff, and sort of like, because obviously when you get comfortable with something, you're not gonna be as nervous. So when I'm going out with him, it's comfort and it's not as bad. But I think doing things on my own would be a bit nervous. But I'm not gonna, I can't avoid that forever. So I'm definitely, singles wrestling is definitely a thing I want to do. And I think it's just about balancing it. So if singles wrestling is something I definitely want to do. So if I get it balanced and I ease my way into it in a way. So like for example, in Full Tilt I can be a singles wrestler, and then maybe let's say I did tagging with people elsewhere. Then if anything that increases the importance of it, because Full Tilt, that's where I'm the singles star. But yeah, so I think that's the way to go about it. Just a bit of both, and just enjoy my time with it really.
So like you're quite a creative guy. And again, that's one of the first things when you come to training was like, especially when we're cutting promos and stuff. Normally, new people in that, when you say to them, "Oh, like cut a promo on this other guy," they're like, "Oh, I'm dead nervous now." But you had like jokes and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you enjoy like the creative side of like letting loose?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if wrestling wasn't creative, I wouldn't. Like it's like I say to people, like a lot of people who criticize wrestling, they're like, oh well, why don't you do something cool like UFC or like MMA and stuff like that? And like if I didn't want anything creative, then maybe I'll go do UFC and MMA. But wrestling is just a different thing. It's just a place to be creative, and like you say, you can make it your own. You can do loads of stuff with it. So
do you come up with lots of characters, or do you more come up with like different kind of angles that you could do rather than like different gimmicks?
I would say I'm more angles focused, and like I like to get creative with like spots in matches as well. So like if I'm doing, like, I remember when I used to I haven't been at work in like a year and a bit now, but like when I was at work, like before the pandemic and stuff, like if I'm just doing something that doesn't require a lot of thought in my head, I'll be going through like if I've got a show in a month and I'm at work or something, I'll be thinking, right, I want to do this and this, and I'll try to like basically like fantasy book it in my head and like go through all the spots and stuff. And that's, like I say, even in the ring, this is why I think, obviously I'm biased, but this is why I think wrestling's better than like your MMA, your UFC, because you can tell a story and you can think of all these things when really in like a competitive sport, you're just going out and think, I have to try hard to win. There's nothing else to it. It's two-dimensional.
Yeah, he's got to knock them out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, when you're talking about like fantasy booking and stuff like that, what we do on the show is I give like the guests a chance of like taking it any time in full tilt, like they get to like be in control. So like it doesn't have to be about yourself. It could be about someone else. It could be you could even make it up. But like, what would full tilt wrestling look like under Milton or Craig?
I think, yeah, if you like you say, we go back to any time, so I would say we're going back to obviously before the pandemic when things were progressing with not just my storyline, but a lot of storylines in FTW, and that is definitely a time I'll go back to because that could get carried on so well.
Right.
And obviously we've missed out on that, but I think that's definitely what I'd carry on because you had sort of Shreddy turning on Crashboat as well, and myself, and the whole rise of the Sovereign. I would sort of carry on with a lot of them stories, yeah, if I had the opportunity to book things like that.
So, well, tell us about it. So what would you want to see? What matches?
Oh well, I would definitely want to see like Crashboat versus Sovereign because Sovereign were up and coming faction, and they had a couple of matches, but they had so much more to it.
Yeah.
So much more left in the tank. So Crashboat versus Sovereign, even whack the tag team titles in there because obviously me and Sam weren't having them anymore since we split up. So whack the tag titles in there, Sovereign versus Crashboat. I would love to see that match. I think that'd be phenomenal. And obviously Shreddy's in there as an enforcer, and you've got me and Sam who are involved as well. And I think, like we talked about before, singles match on the cards. It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
So what type of stipulation would you want to wrestle Sam in?
Oh yeah, I would definitely want to have a stipulation to it. So honestly, anything where we can just let loose a bit and showcase that creative aspect. So even something as simple as falls count anywhere where we can work around the building. Obviously adding a few weapons there, so no DQ where we could not get counted out, but also have the added chairs and tables and things in there. I think there would definitely have to be a stipulation too, but whatever we're given, I think we'd tear the house down. I'll be really confident about putting a good match on with Sam just because we know each other so well.
So if you're in control of that match, right? Who's winning?
Oh, honestly, it just depends on what works best at the time. Because obviously he's got the Alpha Prime title now, and he's had it for so long because of the pandemic. And obviously in normal circumstances he would be vacating that because it's been obviously more than a month since he's performed with it. But so he's had it a while now. So maybe it is time for a new champion. So maybe I'd have to say myself in that situation. But I think it just depends on the circumstances who's winning.
So would you make yourself world champion? Like heavyweight champion?
I don't know about heavyweight champion because it's not really my style. As the face of the company, as a big heavyweight, you want someone basically bigger than me and with a bit of a different style. I think, it's someone who with my style doesn't really tend to be a heavyweight champion. It's always an exception when someone like Rey Mysterio does it or Chris Benoit. So, that's his name.
No.
Yeah, just.
So I mean, just before we go, have you got anything that you want to plug? Your Facebook page, Instagram page, Snapchat.
Yeah, well, it's all still Geek Squad. So you got the Geek Squad professional wrestlers on Facebook, at the Geek Squad tag on Insta. Yeah. And
have you got any stuff coming out on YouTube and stuff like that? Any videos?
No, not at the minute, no. I mean, I think maybe there'll be some promo videos and things floating around on Facebook in the coming weeks, which, keep an eye out for. Can I pitch an idea before we go as well? Right, I'll pitch an idea. So I was thinking about this because I was going to insert it before when you mentioned about me coming on the mic in training when I first trained and being confident with it, right? This is one to get people out the comfort zone when they first come to training. And my friend, who's a footballer, he mentioned on his football team when he was a youth player or whatever coming up to the first team, his football team do a thing where you do an initiation.
Right.
An initiation is you get up on front of the team bus and you just sing a song.
Right.
Any song you want. I think we should do that. New people coming to the club just have to sing a song for everyone.
That would probably put loads of people off.
Yeah, but they don't know that they're going to do it till they get there.
True, but
or maybe just if they want to then. Maybe just if they want to.
You've seen just trying to get people to say the name on the microphone, the real name. True. It's took Curtis really takes
I knew that was coming.
He takes hours. But So, I mean, it's been great speaking to you. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for coming on. And like I say, hopefully, when we can get this all sorted and that, you versus Sam, that's going to be like a kick-ass match.
Yeah.
So looking forward. All right. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.